All right, welcome to another episode of the Walk Up with Francisco. Super hyped for my guest today. Drafted in the fifth round by the Toronto Blue Jays, a catcher in their organization. Louisville guy, Zach Britton. How you doing, bro?
Good man. How are you doing?
Man, it's all go. At that, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It's been a good day. Like we were talking about right before we got on here, this whole time change thing has kind of been. I'm gonna blame just like the last couple of things on time change. That's what we'll do. We'll go for time change. But
Fair enough.
as I was saying, I messaged you. I said we might be this might be an unofficial Louisville podcast now. I've had you, Kate McClure on. Who else? Nick Bennett. Like, I mean, shout out to myself for just grinding in the podcast world and getting sweet guests. But whatever. Uh, how's your off season been?
No, it was really good. I was back home in Indiana and was able to get a lot of good work in, and those guys are two good guests. So hopefully I keep the Louisville name up there. So
Yeah, no, so for Kate McClure, he had tweeted, I don't know if you remember, Draymond Green had said something about he was complaining about travel, and then he quote tweeted him like, well, in the
yeah,
minor league we do this and that, and like we don't complain.
yeah,
So I shouted him out, said, hey, come on the pod, let's talk about it. So he came on. So that's kind of how I got in contact with him, and then I messaged Nick maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago actually, and I had him on the pod. Good guys, like super good guys. Like I said, we might be an unofficial Louisville podcast. Now, I'm actually going to go for Louisville this year. Like, I mean, I've never really been into college baseball. I'm getting into it.
yeah.
Like, the squad looks good. You heard it here first. Like World Series. That's it.
Ooh,
It's happening.
okay.
And if it does, I'm probably the good luck charm. I'll say that. I'll put it out in the air. If it happens.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, they got a good team this year. Louisville's a great program, and you're one of the first people that I've heard say it right that's not from there. So
Yeah. Oh
kudos to
well,
you.
I'll say this. The first time I did, I said Louisville, and someone else on a different podcast had mentioned like he's like Louisville, and I'm like, wow, dang, whatever. But yeah. So the next two guys I've had, I've said it right. But so how has your off season been? Like, what have you been up to? Like, how is like this lockout, or I guess the lockout hasn't really affected you, but like, what have your thoughts been and like working out and all that?
I mean, my biggest goals in the offseason were just to clean some things up defensively. Made a couple changes to the swing, but really just to get myself in a really efficient launching position, and was able to get a lot of good work in and get my body ready to play
Hmm.
140 games this season. So really excited for the season to come and super ready to start playing.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's talk about, start from the beginning in high school, or actually earlier than that. Like, when did you start playing ball? And like, when did you realize like you're pretty good at it?
Um, I think I started seriously playing like travel ball, um, probably around 9 or 10. But I think when I was 7 or 8, I think everybody that I was playing with, my family and myself, knew that, this was a passion of mine, and I obviously had some skills at it, and I was adept, and I picked up on things pretty quickly, and it's all I wanted to do,
Hmm. Hmm.
was go out to the field and hit and practice with my dad. So from a pretty early age, I would say 7 or 8, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and since then I've been working at it constantly.
For sure. There you go. And Indiana's like loaded with talent. Like, I mean, looking at your high school, you had Brian on your team. Were you guys just like absolutely crushing like the competition in high school?
Yeah, my freshman year, when both of us were healthy and playing together, I was catching him.
Yeah.
He was pitching once or twice a week. Yeah, we were loaded. We had a lot of collegiate athletes and multiple different sports, and but like you said, Indiana's loaded with talent everywhere. So once we got into the state tournament, we were playing guys going all over
Hmm.
for play, because, like you said, there's a ton of talent, in Indiana, and it's one of those states that doesn't really get a lot of love, but has produced a ton of great players. And there's several players from Indiana in the Blue Jays organization. So,
Did you play any of those guys like in high school or no?
Nick Podkul, I think I played against him. Like one of the Indiana Bowls, we had like a scrimmage against the older group. I think I played against them, and long time ago. I was probably 15. I think he was 17.
Okay. Right on. So you and Brian, were you guys just like the big dogs on campus? Because like you obviously he's a stud pitcher, you're a stud catcher. You guys just kind of run the score, or is it more
Oh
of a football school?
no, him more than me, because he was he was a D1 caliber
Yeah.
basketball player too.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, if you know anything about Indiana, basketball is
King.
takes everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I played too. I was pretty good, but I stopped playing to kind of pursue this. And but he was, like I said, a D1 caliber basketball player. So um, yeah, he had that going for him too.
Was he getting offers too for basketball?
Yeah. I think he had a handful of Division 1 offers from some pretty good schools too.
So then, at what point did you commit to college, and how was that process picking Louisville? Because I mean, and how was the recruiting process? Because what do they just say? They just like, hey, here's our record. You want to join the club?
No, I think I'm trying to think. It was at the beginning of my sophomore year.
Okay.
I just went to a PBR showcase, Futures Games, a couple weeks or maybe a month prior, and they saw me there and really liked me. And Brian was already committed at the time to Louisville, and the coaches reached out to him and asked him how I was as a player and as a person, and um, he told him how I was, and that got him interested. And they came and watched me play a couple times, and did well in front of them, and got down to campus. They took me to a football game. Um, I got to see all the facilities and everything like that, and it was really really cool. And one of my first visits anywhere, but just fell in love with the coaching staff and just the culture that was there, and decided that was the place for me.
That's awesome. How was that football game? Because obviously football, like college football, is a whole different vibe.
Yeah, I think it was actually the first year that Louisville was in the ACC. So it was a football game against Miami, the U.
Yeah.
It was blackout, so everybody was wearing black.
Mm-hmm.
It was sick.
Dude, that's dope. That's dope. So then, after going there, how many other schools did you visit?
Um, After I visited Louisville, I don't think I visited
Okay.
another, but beforehand, I visited several.
Was there any other school that was kind of like, maybe in competition with Louisville, or you're like, no, this is pretty much it. Like, I'm going to go to the school.
Yeah, there was probably, like I said, a handful that I was looking at. But once I went to Louisville and got to talk to Coach Mack and Coach Snyder, the hitting coach at Louisville, I knew that was the place for me. And the talent that was there, I knew that I was going to be competing every day. So
Yep.
once I got there, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And it was close enough to home where mom and dad could come watch me play if they won.
Oh, that's sick. So let's talk about this. I mean, you were at one point in high school, you were forbidden from taking batting practice. I was reading up on there. Credit to myself for doing some good research on you, which is kind of hard. I'll say this: I type in Zach Britton, and like I had to go through all these other Zach Britton before I get to the you Zach Britton. But so what is that story about? Like, you were forbidden from taking batting practice at one point in high school.
Yeah. So we played at a park. Our high school did. We played at our town park. Great stadium and everything. But we had like a row of houses behind the street, behind like center field and right field. There's a street that runs across, and a row of houses. And during BP, I was notorious for my last round. I was aiming for the houses.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks of that. And I would always go to the field with my dad too, and I would just kind of pepper the houses whenever. And a couple weeks of doing that during the season, the homeowners got pretty mad. So they did all kinds of things. At first, they put up a temporary fence in front of the house, and that didn't work. And then we had shaggers go in the yard of the house to try to catch the balls before they hit the house. That didn't work. So eventually, I think they ended up pushing me back to the backstop, which was like 50 feet behind home plate.
Yeah.
So I think that worked a little bit.
Geez, so you were absolutely just launching balls then.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's insane. That's electric. So, I mean, were you breaking windows? Were you like denting cars? Like, what was going on? Or were you just hitting kids? Like,
no, I hit some cars, hit some roofs for sure.
Jeez. Okay. So what was your coach like? What was that conversation then, like, with your coach when he's telling you, like, look, dude, like, you got to stop. These guys are complaining, but at the same time, you're like, look, this is what I do.
Yeah. I think he wasn't. I can't remember exactly what he said. Justin Tucker was the head coach. He was the assistant principal at the time too. So whatever he said, I listened to it.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
He told me, he just said, "Yeah, from now on, you're hitting back here on a mat." So I did what he told me to do.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you had guys out there like shagging balls in the yards of the people living. So who was doing that then? How do you recruit guys to do that? Was coaches like, hey, like y'all just gotta go out there?
I think it was.
It was a detention for some kids who weren't behaving.
No, I think it was some pitchers during their BP
Okay.
run. Instead of hitting, they'd go out there and shack.
Jeez, that's crazy. So you were pretty much just a legend in your town, then hated and loved by everyone. An absolute legend. That's incredible. So you go to Louisville. That school is an absolute powerhouse. Obviously, they're incredible. And like I said, this might be the unofficial Louisville podcast. How was it joining like a stacked team then? Because like obviously you're on the Blue Jays now with a stacked roster.
Right.
How was it going into that and trying to like prove yourself?
I mean, you always hear about being a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
Obviously, in high school, I'm from a small town, so I was a big fish in a small pond. And I got to Louisville, and my first year, it was kind of a shock to me. I'd never been around that many people, never been in a city before, really, a big city like that. So it was different. It was different for sure. There was, a lot of things that changed in my routine and what I needed to do to make myself a better player. But like I said before, there were so many good players that you can learn a lot. And that's one of the biggest things I took away. When you play with guys that are super talented, whether they be pitchers or hitters or other catchers, you can always pick things up from them just by asking questions and watching them every day and obviously competing with them every day. So, it was great for me to learn from a great group of guys. And we had some upperclassmen when I was a young guy going through the program that I could really look up to and ask questions whenever I needed. And that was huge for me in my development.
So you mentioned like asking questions, like who was somebody there who maybe took you under their wing and kind of like showed you the ropes as like a freshman there?
My freshman year, I think Pat Romero, he was a junior catcher when I first got there. Zeke Pinkham was another junior catcher when I first got there. I learned a lot from those guys, just watching them go about their business. Other hitters, Logan Wyatt was a second rounder to the Giants. He was a sophomore. Josh Stowers, who's with the Rangers now. Devin Mann with the Dodgers. Those guys were great dudes to go to with anything about hitting, and they helped me progress my swing a lot and in my approach as well.
So you obviously went from playing infield to catcher, then like to the outfield. Like, what was that process? And like, what is your favorite position to play? And is there a huge? Obviously, there's a difference, but like, what is maybe the biggest difference between like catching and then going playing it elsewhere?
Yeah, so I grew up a catcher. Pretty much my whole life I played catcher and outfield and some infield too, but kind of I could play wherever, but catching was my primary. And then I went to college as a catcher, played my freshman year as a catcher, got some outfield time too my freshman year, but had groin surgery in the summer after my freshman year, and I didn't end up getting cleared to actually play in a game until January or February going into my sophomore season. So I kind of sat down with the coaches and they asked me what I wanted to do. And me not being truly completely healthy yet, to get back there and take the pounding that I would have taken on my groins and my hips, I thought, I could go out and play in the outfield. I could DH, I could play whatever position, but catching for me at this point probably wasn't the best thing to do for my body. So my sophomore year and junior year, I strictly pretty much played outfield and kind of fell in love with it out there and got pretty comfortable and really started to enjoy it. And then when I got drafted by the Blue Jays, they saw the potential behind the plate as a guy who can hit, throw, run, and have a lot of tools behind the plate. So to answer your question about what's my favorite, catching is my favorite because you can be involved in every single pitch. Now, when you're playing in the outfield, depending on who you're playing, 4 innings might go by and you haven't seen a ball even come close to you. So, catching is definitely my favorite. You have an impact on every pitch in the game.
So then, as a catcher, like, what would you prefer? Or what would you find more exciting, like throwing out a runner at second base, or maybe getting like a big hit in the game? Because you're obviously you're impacting the game, but like, what maybe is your favorite thing to do, or maybe like emotionally, like, what do you feel like that's what I just did?
I mean, I love throwing guys out, and I've worked really, really hard this past offseason on transfer work, arm strength, taking care of the arm, done a lot of drive line, arm carry and plyo balls. But getting a big hit in a game. There's nothing that comes close to it for me. It's seventh inning on, you need a big hit. I'm ready to go. So
You
that's
yeah.
takes off.
Oh, for sure. So this is what I need you to do though. Next time you throw out a runner though, just throw up a W. And and they'll be like, everyone's gonna wonder what it was. It's for the walk off. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Blue Jays fans are gonna be like, what is this guy doing? What does that even mean? They're gonna be Googling it, like, what does a W mean? And they're gonna find me. That's all right.
Yep.
So I'll be looking out for that too. The next time you throw someone out, I'm gonna be looking for that. You mentioned batting 6th inning or later. I saw a stat. You batted 377 6th inning or later. Like, what goes into just being like such a clutch like hitter heading into the late innings where like obviously the game gets so much more important?
Yeah, I think I take a lot of pride in that. When it's a tough situation or a really good pitcher late in the game, I want to be the guy in the box.
Yeah.
I want the bat in my hand. I want to be able to, take control of the game. I think ever since I was a young kid in the backyard hitting with my dad, I was always telling myself, hey, this is the bottom of the ninth, winning runs on second, tying runs on third, two outs, 2 strikes. Like I've been doing it since a kid, and that's what I love.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the draft experience then. So how obviously it's 2020, it's a COVID year. The draft is shortened. Like I've had guys on here who didn't get drafted that year. They got signed. Had a couple guys on who had to get signed as free agents, undrafted. But you were one of the guys who I wouldn't even say lucky because you obviously earned this. So what was that draft experience like? And at any point did you start to get nervous? Because you drafted in the 5th round, the last round. So at any point were you kind of getting nervous, like, oh man, like, is this going to happen or not?
No, I wouldn't say I was nervous. I knew that I was going to get picked. I actually had some deals set up in the earlier rounds from other teams that I thought were going to happen, and they kind of passed through. And once that happened, I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know what's going on. But that's just how the draft works. You never truly know what's going to happen. And once the Blue Jays pick in the 4th round happened, thought I was going, 2 picks behind them. And my agent calls me and says, hey, if you don't get picked here in the 4th, you're going to the Blue Jays with the 136th pick in the 5th. So after their 4th round pick, I knew I was going to them, and super happy that I did. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. So were your parents aware of these conversations, or were you just kind of letting them stress out a little bit?
I don't really remember. I can't. I think they knew.
Okay.
I think they knew, but like as parents, like they were more nervous than I was.
Oh, absolutely.
They were way more nervous than I was, and once my name got called, Coach Mack, actually the head coach of Louisville, was on screen giving an interview when I got picked, and we kind of looked at each other and we're like, "There's no way that he's still going to be on."
Yeah,
the Blue Jays have their pick, and he keeps talking, picks keep rolling in, and I get a call from my agent. He's like, "Hey, you watching?" And I said, "Yep." And he's like, "It's about to happen." So he stayed on, and they announced the pick with him on screen, and it was really cool.
Does that make it so much more special than having him on there? Because obviously, you grinded for him for a couple of years, and
no, it was kind of a culmination of all the hard work that I put in, on his team, and then kind of took me back to when I was a sophomore in high school when I was sitting across the table from him, and he asked me what my goals were, and I told him to play in the big leagues. And when I got picked and he was on screen, it was kind of a, just a culmination of emotions and memories that kind of popped in. It was a lot. It was overwhelming for sure, but it was an amazing moment.
Yeah. So Truth Circle, like, did you cry? Like, what was the emotion like on your side?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I for sure did. I broke down a little bit, which, it was just a ton of emotion. I had people calling me left and right. It was really cool and probably the best moment of my life so far.
So was your phone just absolutely blowing up?
Yeah. I had hundreds of messages, numbers I had never saved. I had a ton of people that texted me and called me. I don't think I returned some of them still, but it was blowing up after that.
Did you have like a draft party at your house or no?
No. It was me and my parents. I'm super superstitious, crazy superstitious. So like I did not want anybody jinxing anything or anything like that.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay, like I said, this is the true circle. Obviously, with the money wasn't the exact, or with COVID, everything was kind of different. But like, you got a decent amount of money. Like, what was the first dumb thing you bought with that? Like when you
Mm,
just like you're like, all right, I'm gonna just this is what I'm doing.
um, I haven't really made any big
That's all
purchases.
right.
Yeah, I did. I work with Big League Advance.
Okay,
I did a deal with Big League Advance, and I got a nice car. But I'm have a lot of investments
yeah,
in a lot of different places that's
that's
growing
awesome.
for me. So
That's incredible.
nothing too crazy.
Okay,
I have a nice car, but
yeah. Hey,
but
car's nice. What kind of car did you get?
I got a Mercedes GLC
There you
AMG.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
See, that'll work. That's good. That's nice. I asked one guy this. He said, I got a car and then I got this chain. I'm like, there you go. Get a little drip.
Yeah, yeah. You need a chain. Everybody needs a chain.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, how was the adjustment then from like going and playing in the ACC, where like the facilities are nice, the travel is nice, to the minor leagues, where it's just an absolute grind?
Yeah, no, it was different. It was different for sure. I think in college it's more tailored to the student athlete.
Hmm.
It's everything's laid out for you. Your routines are the team routines. You're taken care of, catered to. In the minor leagues, it's up to you to figure out what you need to do to get ready.
Hmm.
So I think there was a little bit of a learning curve for me last year, just trying to figure out, what do I need to do as a player to get ready, whether that be, you know, extra work defensively before the game, extra work hitting in the cage before the game, whatever it may be, just to get me ready to play that night. And then obviously recovering the best that I can after the game, because you got another one to play. You got to be at the field in 12 hours to play it. So
Yeah,
that was the biggest thing that I had to learn, was just, how do I get my body right for the next day after the game?
that's what's up. And I asked Cade that, and he's like, "Yeah." I said, "How was the minor league? What was your first thought?" And he's like, "I wish I was back in college." I was like, I could feel that because ACC is nice, and then you're
Yeah.
going right to the minors. Was there any like location in the minor leagues where you're like, this city, I have no idea where I'm at. Like I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like where am I? Like any fun stories?
No, not yet.
No, yeah,
I'm sure there'll be some.
yeah.
Um, but we were pretty fortunate last year. We were in the Florida State League,
Hmm.
or the old Florida State League, I guess. So I guess it was Southeast League last year. But no, the travel was super easy. We were all in Florida, so I think our furthest trip was 4 hours, and it was a quick, easy bus ride, and we didn't really go anywhere that I haven't been to yet. So
Okay.
I'm sure there will be some stories here in the future.
Oh yeah, you're gonna hear them. You're gonna have
Yeah.
these. You're gonna experience these stories, and like in the middle of nowhere, where you're like, where am I? Like these hotels that like you got bed bugs or something, and like middle of just absolutely like middle of nowhere towns where like that's just an experience
Yeah,
you'll get.
I've heard some horror
Oh
stories,
yeah.
but I haven't had any happen to me yet. Knock on wood.
Have you had any like interesting like fan interactions? Because like obviously in the minor leagues, like the fans are all up on you. Do they ever like chirp at you when you're catching in the back?
um, not too much
Okay.
chirping. In college, different story.
Yeah. Okay.
Florida State. I
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
my freshman year. That was brutal. They got on you a little bit there. Ole Miss, Texas Tech, and those fields too. Like Texas Tech, when I was catching there, it was like a 6 foot backstop. So
Hmm.
they're on top of you,
Yeah.
and you can hear every word that they're saying. And if you tell people you can't, you're lying.
Yeah.
So definitely in college I had it, but not so much in pro ball. They're a little bit more relaxed, and they just want to see good baseball happen.
Well, yeah, when you got the college kids out there, it's a different story too sometimes.
Yeah, no
Um,
doubt, no doubt.
what are some of the things they would say to you then, like when you're back there? Like what are some of the good chirps? Or
There are so many. There was one. I think I had a pass ball, or it was a wild pitch or something, and I just for 6 innings straight just got worn out by the fans about one wild pitch or pass ball. I'll never forget that. That was a Texas Tech in the regional, and yeah, Texas Tech went on to beat us. I think 2 games in a row, but yeah, those fans were ruthless. That's for sure. They had good memories. That's for sure.
that's incredible. So now that you're a full time catcher, are you full time catcher? I guess, or do they Blue Jays have you playing at all in the outfield? Or are you just pretty
Yeah,
much
I'll,
primarily?
I'll play. I'll play here and there in the outfield, but primarily catching. Yeah,
What are some adjustments then that you have to make, kind of going from college ball to now full time catcher in the minors?
I think the biggest thing, like I kind of touched on it, but just the recovery aspect, taking care of the body, taking care of arm, legs, making sure that when you go to bed, that when you wake up, you're gonna be ready to play the game, um, and feel like it's opening day. So that's been a huge emphasis of mine, is just taking care of the body, get in as best shape as I can, and just get ready to play every single day.
So, on the flip side, then, is there anyone who absolutely just owns you and you look and you walk out to the plate like you're just like, oh man, this is not going to happen?
No, no,
No.
I think for me, um, my biggest strength as a hitter is just confidence.
Hmm.
When I step in the box, I don't think that there's anybody in the world that could get me out. And if I get out, then it's on me, not on
Yeah,
him. So
that's a good
I think
mindset. It's a good mindset to
yeah,
have.
I think you have to have that
Yeah,
mentality. And I think if you don't, then you're already beat when you step in the box. Um, so that's kind of how I look at it, and that's what helps me when I get in the box. There's nobody that's going to beat me.
I get that. I get that. So you talked about superstitions, and you're superstitious. That's good. I mean, baseball players are superstitious. I mean, as fans, like I'm a superstitious person. What are some of the superstitions that you have, or maybe like pregame rituals that you absolutely have to follow? Otherwise, like your day's ruined.
Tape, tape's a big one. So like I have to have the same amount of tape on my left wrist. Got to wear the arm sleeve on the right. Have to.
Yeah.
If it's not if it's not going well for like a 2 week period, then I might switch it up. I might go sleeve on the left,
Hmm.
tape
Hmm.
on the right. And if it starts working, then I'm sticking with it until it's not.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, different socks. Like if I'm going good, same pair of socks every
Yeah.
day. Obviously they're getting washed,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
same pair of socks. If 0 for 4, couple punch outs, socks in the trash, get new socks.
It's electric.
Low.
Okay. So then what is like your pregame like routine? Like what do you do to get ready? Like you got some certain what kind of music do you do or listen to hype yourself up, and like what's your like pregame routine like?
Yeah, I think so. Music, Jack Harlow. I like Jack Harlow, Drake. Easy, obvious one. Everybody likes Drake. Mike Stud. Um, those three guys. That's my pregame playlist for sure. Routine wise, is cages, defensive early work, BP. Um, and I have a defense routine every game that I catch that stays pretty similar throughout the whole season.
So like walk up song, like what do you switch that up to then if things aren't working?
Yeah. I have a couple in the bank that when I'm struggling, I'll put it on and I'll usually get hot once I use them.
What's your go-to song like if you're struggling, like this is the one I'm gonna throw on and I know I'm gonna go like 2 for 3 with a home
Um,
run?
there's two of them.
Okay.
What if I go by Mira Mesa?
Okay.
I don't know if you heard it.
I'll look it up.
Um, that was a big one in college. And I used it last year too. I was struggling a little bit, used it, started getting hot.
There you go.
And then by far number one for me, Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I start using that,
Watch out.
um,
You're
yeah,
about to body bag some pitchers.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
That's incredible. All right. Well, then I'll have to keep a lookout for that as well. So
Yep.
obviously you're now on a team in the organization that's like star-studded, like Vladdy. You have all these guys, Bo Bichette. What is it like being in an organization where like they have such high expectations, and obviously you as a player in the next couple of years want to just add on to that, like an additional star in that lineup? And
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is like I can't worry about kind of my perception. What I have to worry about is being present in every game that I'm playing. Every day in spring training, I have to show up and be ready to do what I need to do. So if I can take care of myself and take care of the things I need to take care of, then that'll speak for itself.
have you met any of the big leaguers or no?
Yeah, I met a few, and obviously you see those guys walking around and getting their work in, but
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, got to play with a couple last year. Pat Murphy, Julian Merriweather came in through for us as a rehab.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, those guys are always around, and whenever you get the chance, it's great to talk to them and pick their brain.
What are some of the questions you would ask then these like veteran players or who's coming down for like rehab, like because obviously that's an experience like you typically don't have.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing to do is always ask guys what their approach is, what they think about in the box. And you'll notice like a lot of the best hitters, they give pretty similar answers. And then obviously pitchers are just as important to ask what they see in hitters. So, that some of the pitchers that have been around this spring training since early February, I've been picking their brains every time I get the chance of what they say with not only me, but with other guys, what they're looking at and how to attack hitters. Not only does that help me offensively, but it helps me learn how to call the game behind the plate.
Yeah. And I mean, so what has been your favorite game to catch then? Because obviously as a catcher, you're guiding that pitcher along. Like, what has been your favorite moment as a catcher?
Ooh, ever?
Let's say like college and up then. At college in the last several years.
That's a tough one. I've never had anybody throw no hitter yet as a professional. But I love when a guy's just rolling, when a guy's just 3 up, 3 down, just carving. That's I can't really say one in particular moment, but now when a guy's feeling good and he's punching everybody out and he's moving quick, love it.
That's incredible. So obviously you're an organization, you're a 5th round pick, a high draft pick. Do you get like fans in your DMs asking you to sign stuff and autograph this? And like, what is the weirdest thing they've asked you to autograph?
So yeah, to answer the first question, yeah, I get a lot of people in the requests asking me for cards to sign and stuff like that, which usually I'll sign them if they send them to the complex. I'll sign them usually, but especially if it's a kid, I'll sign anything for absolutely. A kid. But yeah, somebody last year, the kids are always asking for bats, and I'm like, dude, I can't give you a bat. That I need these. But I hit a homer. I hit a home run last year in a late game. I think it was like a 1-0 game, and I hit a solo homer. And the kid came up to me after the game, and he was like, "Hey, can you sign my forehead?" I was like, "No, I'll sign a ball. Or I'll sign a glove, but I don't think your mom would be too happy if I signed your forehead."
Like, was he like a younger kid? Like, how old is this guy?
Yeah, he's probably like 10.
Jeez, a forehead. Okay. Well, hey, you're gonna get.
Yeah, I think a forehead was the furthest I got.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I mean, once you get in the higher levels in the majors, you might get some more interesting requests there. Let's end on this then. Like, when you're not playing baseball, like, what do you do? Are you a golfer? You're COD, a Fortnite guy, or MLB The Show? Like, what do you do when you're not playing?
Yeah, I do a lot of different things. I like to work out. If I'm not playing, I'm working out every single day, 2 hours a day. I like to read. I have a business and looking into getting in a couple more. So that's always something. What kind of business is it? Britton baseball, actually, we're in a hat. But
shout out.
in an instructional business where train kids, do team practices, seminars, consultations, just to help kids develop the right way and be somebody in these kids' lives that they can look up to and get good instruction from. But I think my free time is usually spent trying to build that and build myself as a player and obviously build the knowledge.
Okay. Do you golf at all?
Yeah. Big golfer. I haven't got to since I've been down here, but I love to golf.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Like Bennett's a big golfer. Huh?
Yeah. I started playing 2020.
Okay.
After I got drafted when the downtime was going on.
Yeah.
And taught myself how to swing right-handed so I wouldn't mess up my baseball swing. And
there you go.
I'm pretty good. I played with Bennett a couple times, and there's a couple front nines that I've given him a run for his money.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I look at his Instagram. It's like his Instagram story is like every day it's like a different golf course. I'm like, dude, this dude is just living the dream.
Yeah. No, he can play. He can play.
Do you play video games at all?
Yeah. I just actually recently got a Switch, so me and some of the guys have been playing Mario Kart and Smash Bros and stuff like that. But I used to be a big Fortnite guy in college, and obviously played COD a little bit here and there, but not so much anymore. But definitely used to dabble in the video games.
Yeah, dude. Like that's what I hear a lot. Like, and I'm a big video game guy. Like I play Call of Duty, Fortnite. I'm not a golfer. Like I'm terrible at it. Like I'm not good at it. It's just something I got to work on eventually. But
Yeah,
but yeah, no, called video games is my thing. I like to read too. Like you talk about reading. What kind of books do you read? Like fiction, nonfiction?
everything,
Okay.
everything, dude. Not nonfiction. Only nonfiction, but everything. Right now, I'm reading a book called The Confident Mind. Just teaching yourself how to train confidence and be confident in any situation.
That's incredible. Right on,
Yeah.
man. Hey, Zach, I want to thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it, like, taking your time. I know you're a busy guy, and it's about to get busier now that the spring training. Like, when's your first game? Like, when do you guys play?
I think it's April 8th.
Okay. Oh no, what are we in? No, like spring training game. When do you
Oh,
guys?
it's the training game. We actually had our first inter squad today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you
so
catch it or no?
yeah,
Okay.
caught the first 3 innings,
Sweet.
and then it was only a 6 inning game. So
Yeah. Right on. Well, that's
yeah,
cool
man.
deal. You
Yeah,
see?
man. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure to talk with you.
Absolutely, absolutely, Zach. You have a great rest of your day, and I'm gonna keep your friend of the podcast now, so I'll keep in contact, and I'll reach back out to you sometime, and we'll keep in contact.
Appreciate it, man.
All
I'd
right,
be
brother.
happy to hop back on for sure.
Absolutely. All right, you have a good night, man.
You too.